All right, so we are going to go over the Unit 8 portfolio that I believe is assigned for today. We're going to kind of just touch base on what's required here and what the deal is with this. So first of all, for this document is linked in the lesson introduction page. Hang on, I got to put my cat away. Get out of here, cat. Cat in the lab don't make for a good live lesson. So first of all, this document is linked in the lesson introduction page on Unit 8, Lesson 3, but I will also drop it here in the chat for you. Okay. In order to edit this, you have to download your own copy. So you need to go up to the File menu here. Go to download and then just download it as a Word or an ODT or an RT, whatever one you want, whatever suits your fancy. Download it as whatever you want. Then you can open that copy from your downloads folder and you will be able to make edits on this. You can't edit this one because I don't want anybody messing it up. Okay, so that's the first thing. If you want to do this on a completely separate page or a separate document, I don't care. It's up to you. Yeah, you got to make your own copy. But anyways, here's what's going on here. First, there's a video on the lesson introduction page that goes over what cladograms are. Now, I'm not going to go into too much detail here because you can watch the video to find out like what it is and what they're for. I'm just going to give you the base details. A cladogram is a little picture that you use to kind of group relationships between critters with a shared evolutionary history. Okay, cladograms can be very, very simple. The ones you're going to see in your lessons in your books are like really simple. You know, they'll have like a turtle and then a horse and then a cat and then a dog. But that is an extremely simplified version. If you were going to look at like a complete cladogram, it would have thousands and thousands of little tiny branches on it. Like it would have, you know, wolf, and then that would branch out to like jackal and hyena and dog and wombat and all the other things. If you had cat, it would then branch out to lions, tigers, jaguars, panthers, bobcats, cougars, all that stuff. Usually we keep it simplified, but just know that a branch of a cladogram shows the images of critters that have a shared evolutionary history, and usually they just show you one little part. So that's cladogram in a nutshell. The video on the lesson intro page goes into a lot more detail, so I would suggest you watch that before taking this portfolio on. But we have some fake critters here called xenites. And these critters were found on an alien planet in the rock strata. The fossils have been dug up. And we have to create a cladogram that shows us the pattern of their evolutionary history and how they are related on a cladogram. So you were told that xenite A is the oldest one. It was buried deepest in the rock strata. Okay. The other ones have different traits. You can see that they all have eye stalks, except for A. They all have eye stalks. 3 of them have a mouth. 2 of them have spikes. 1 of them has a tail. Okay. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to fill in this table. Does A have spines? No. Eye stalks? No. Tail? No. Mouth? No. A has nothing. Does B have spines? No. Does it have eye stalks? Yes, B has eye stalks. Does it have a tail? No, B does not have a tail. Does it have a mouth? Yes, it has a mouth. So you're going to fill in this table for all of the traits. Okay. Now, because I am nice, what I have done here for you is I have created a blank cladogram for you. Originally, you were supposed to make your own, but I'm nice. I made you the blank cladogram. You just have to fill it in with the appropriate xenites. So let's look at this cladogram right here. Cladogram, the original, the oldest, if you will, is going to go here towards the back of the cladogram. This is the most ancient version of the xenite. Between every little spike in the cladogram, we have a trait. This means that the trait has evolved over the course of time, and this represents like millions of years of evolution. But at some point, eye stalks showed up on the xenites. At some point, a mouth showed up on the xenites. At some point, spikes. At some point, a tail. So for this first branch, okay, what would you expect to find here where this question mark is? Keep in mind that what you would expect to find where the question mark is actually is not on this list. This is why cladograms are useful. They're predictive. Is there a xenite here that just has eye stalks, like it's A and it just has eye stalks and nothing else? Is that picture here? No, it is not. So that is what we would expect right here. But the closest one to A has eye stalks and a tail. Sorry, eye stalks and a mouth. Okay. Dang it, I messed up my cladogram. I knew I was going to mess it up. See, these are complicated even for me. So right here, that should say mouth. That says mouth. That's going to say, I'm going to change that on the document later. But imagine that where it says tail, it says mouth. Okay. Oh, I know, it's complex. I think I did change it, but I forgot to copy paste it into the document. Anyways, pretend that tail says mouth. So B would actually go right about here because it has eye stalks and a mouth. So you got one up here that would have just eye stalks, but this branched off here, and B would be right about here. It has eye stalks and a mouth. Does that make sense? Kind of? Pretend this says mouth, doesn't say tail. This is mouth. Okay. So now at some point further along the way, the mouth also evolved here as well. Okay, so now we're looking for a xenite that has eye stalks and a mouth. And that would go up here. Now we're looking for a xenite that has eye stalks, mouth, and spikes. And that would go up here. So you have to determine which pictures go with the appropriate traits in the cladogram. And I promise I will fix this so this is mouth, so it's not confusing. As soon as we're done with live lesson, I'll fix the document. Because this is kind of hard to track, you know? So you guys have to fill in this cladogram with the appropriate xenite images, where they go. Also keep in mind that a trait can evolve away. So if you found a xenite somewhere that had eye stalks, mouth, spikes, but right here, it evolved to have no mouth, it could go here if it has all the other traits. So that is how you fill in the cladogram, and I'll fix this, okay? But intuitively speaking, do you guys kind of understand how you're supposed to fill in this diagram with the appropriate xenite pictures? Are there any questions about this part? Okay, so that's how you fill in this one. So I'll fix that, make it a little bit more intuitive. For part 2, boom, a new species of xenite has been discovered. And this guy has all the things. He's got the eyes, he's got the spikes, he's got the mouth, he's got the tail, he's got all the things. So based on this complexity of traits, would you consider F to be more recent or less recent than, say, B? Yeah, it would be more recent. He's got more of the things. He's got more of the traits. Okay, so you would fill in the table here. This table includes F as well. Okay, and then you would put F on the cladogram somewhere, and he'd be like up here somewhere, because he'd be like right here, because he has all the things, right? He's the most recent guy. Okay, then based on your cladogram, you are going to determine the evolution order of the different critters, A, B, C, D, E, F. And you're going to do that by looking at your cladogram. Who comes first? Who comes second? Who comes third? And so on and so forth. Now, keep in mind, cladograms are not, an exact science. They're just a predictive way to kind of group things in the most likely order of evolution. Okay? And then you have to answer the questions. And there's more than one right answer based on how you construct your cladogram, because a cladogram is not a sure thing. But the more things you find to fill in the cladogram, the more likely it is to be a correct version of what happened. Like if there were 30 different Zenyte varieties, and they all had little different traits on them, like spots or feathers or hair or webbed feet or whatever, you could put new branches onto this cladogram. But right now we're only dealing with these 6 Zenytes. Okay? So you got to fill in all of the things. And what I've done here for you on this document is I've made little images that you can actually copy paste. So like you can copy like at the very bottom. And by the way, this cladogram is not correct, so don't count on this one. I just put the images here for you. So like if you wanted to move D, you could copy, Control C, and bring it up here and paste it in. That's going to mess up your formatting, but that's how you do it. Okay, but those are available for you to copy paste to construct your cladogram. If you want to draw your cladogram by hand and just use the Zenyte letters to make it easier on you, that's fine too. You can do a Canva doc. You can do whatever you like. Whatever format floats your boat is fine with me. I'm not a stickler for format. Just make me a cladogram with the Zenytes on there in the correct order. Answer the questions. The questions here are at the end. Like what traits would be most valuable for survival? Did any of the traits appear at the same time? Did any of the traits disappear? Okay. So this is how you complete the portfolio. Answer these questions here. I'm not looking for like huge, long, novel type answers. Just a couple sentences is fine for the question. Any questions on that before we begin our boss battle? Hang on, let me set some stuff up here. Yes, I will send out the recording later so you can all review it. Also, definitely watch the video that I've posted on the lesson introduction page. It's just a YouTube video by a YouTuber named Professor Dave who does biology stuff. He's really good at explaining how cladograms work. And that's, you definitely need to watch that. But, all right, so let's go ahead